It's actually not good for the community. When businesses are booming, everybody succeeds. That's actually not the case. Number 1, for profit, bottom 10 in worker wages.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Let's talk a little bit about Oklahoma. Again, the phone number is 844-899-TBLR, folks, 844-899-8857 if you want to call in. Did have Greg in the chat. Greg, the letter carrier who called in, and Donovan from Utah called in and said, we shouldn't even accept the framing, et cetera. And I was like, I didn't get from Greg that he was like a big, I didn't think that Greg was a big Doge fan, but he was just trying to say, that like, look, if you actually do want to go after efficiency stuff, then here's a couple of ideas or something like that. And Greg did say in the chat, very skeptical of Doge. So, there you go. That was my anticipation. I think that I was picking up what you were putting down, Greg. So, Adam, there was a couple of stories out of Oklahoma that we wanted to talk about today, and the first one being about some official trying to advertise basically for this anti-union competitor for teachers in the state. Can you talk to us about what's going on there? Oh. Okay, looks like Adam's internet connection is not great. So Adam, if you get back on, let me know, and we'll talk about this the teachers union stuff. But I had another Oklahoma story myself. Like I said earlier in the program, I ratioed the governor of Oklahoma. And this was a very funny tweet that the governor of Oklahoma did. The governor of Oklahoma had this tweet where they said his name is, let's see, what is his name? Maybe I can find it. Where'd the tweet go? Yeah, here we go. Governor Kevin Stitt tweeted a graph or a picture, a map of the United States, where he said with all the states and had 1, 2, and 3 ranked, and the map was of where the states ranked in terms of profit per employee for Fortune 500 companies. And so Oklahoma was the Oklahoma governor, Kevin Stitt, was really excited about this because Oklahoma came in number one in profit per employee for Fortune 500 companies. He said in his tweet, companies are more efficient when they operate in Oklahoma because of our business-friendly policies, folks. When business is booming, everybody wins. And so that last bit, when business is booming, everybody wins, I thought that was interesting. And so I just thought I'd do like a little Google search. And I will say, it didn't come to me independently. I saw another Twitter account said something similar. They mentioned it was the guy who runs the Union Drip account. I can't remember his name, but I saw his personal account. He tweeted that Oklahoma is in the bottom 10 states for worker wages. So it's number 41. So there are only 9 other states in the union where the median worker makes less money than Oklahoma. And so the idea that, when business is booming, everybody wins, it's like, why is that? Who is everybody exactly? What does that mean? Everybody wins. Because I don't think that word means what do you think it means, that Inigo Montoya quote.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
It's just so frustrating seeing stuff like this and, bragging about it because he didn't think that like normal people would see this tweet, I guess. And so I quote tweeted it. I said, if Oklahoma is number 1 in profit per employee, but in the bottom 10 states in worker wages, what is happening to all the profit? What's happening to all the profit? If you got all this money rolling around for people to have, but your workers are more poor than every state in the union, save like 9 of them, 9 of the 50, then where's all this money going? And of course, we know, I know, people listening to the show know, and he knows where the money is going. It's going to rich people. It's going to the billionaire class, the owning class, employers, businesses, not workers, not communities. And the Fortune 500 stuff it's worth sitting on that for a little bit, because so many of these companies are, the rich people don't even live there, right? I mean, this is something that we talked about with Warrior Met Coal. When Warrior Met Coal was bought out by BlackRock and Vanguard and all of these private equity firms, the wealthy people who bought it, who are now getting the profits, don't even live in Alabama. So you don't even get in Alabama now the value of having a rich person to go and spend money at the car dealership or at a local fancy restaurant or anything like that. Because the people are literally sucking profit out of the state, in Warrior Met Coal's instance, out of the state's natural resources and the labor of people. And in Oklahoma's case, the labor of the employees, sucking money out of them and sending that off to some freak in New York or DC, right? Some investment banker or something. And so it's not good. It's actually not good for the community. When businesses are booming, everybody succeeds. It's actually not the case. And those two numbers juxtaposed together really prove it. Number 1 for profit, bottom 10 in worker wages. You should work on fixing that. Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate. Is Adam back on? Okay.
Hey y'all, I think I'm back on.
Okay, yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you. So yeah, what are your thoughts about that? And then we can talk about your other Oklahoma story if we're able to keep you.
Yeah, I appreciate that you pointed out that juxtaposition between profit and the wages that the workers are actually earning. I think how you fix that, right, is union power, right? When workers are able to come together and organize and collectively bargain and actually expand democracy into the economic sphere, that's how you can put some of those profits back into the pockets of workers who, by the way, will then go out and spend that money in the community. And something that the brother from UAW mentioned this morning in our earlier interview about how, if they win a good contract in Volkswagen at Chattanooga, how that really will benefit Chattanooga as a whole, right? If all of these workers have a little bit more spending money, if they have better conditions, better quality of life, more time to spend with their family, able to visit the doctor when they need to, take care of their health and welfare, and, take the family out for a vacation every now and then, or take the family out to eat. Those sorts of things grow the economy from the bottom up. I don't think it's entirely a coincidence that, arguably the most booming time in America was at the height of union density in America, because you were able to sustain, economic growth through ordinary people. And, ordinary people were able to sustain their families, at least a lot, in a more common way than we've seen in the last couple decades. So, it's interesting. I appreciate you pointing that out. And Oklahoma got some interesting stories coming out of there. Talk to us about
I'm no
expert on Oklahoma, but
not an expert on Oklahoma, not an Oklahoma expert, but talk to us about that the teachers union competitor that you were telling me about.
Yeah, it sounds like the some of the establishment in Oklahoma is pushing the narrative of quote unquote left-wing teachers unions. And as someone who's been around, education associations, and I say association deliberately because many of them do not actually proclaim to be unions. Many of them identify as professional organizations or professional associations. I've been around, a lot of these circles for many years here in the South, and there just frankly aren't a lot of left-wingers. You can find some progressives, you can find some liberals. There aren't very many left-wingers that I've met, and I have looked for them. So, the idea that you should ditch the association for being too left-wing is frankly hilarious. But we have those sorts of outfits in Alabama. There are competitors to the Alabama Education Association and the American Federation of Teachers, which are the two primary organizations for educators. There are other groups out there who basically sell a form of liability insurance and explicitly promote themselves as being more conservative or right-wing. One of them even proclaims to be Christian in nature. So I guess when your superintendent writes you up and suspends you, they're going to pray for you. I'm not sure if they're going to provide a lawyer or file a grievance. Maybe they'll take up a collection. But
a love offering.
Yeah, perhaps. Me personally, if my job is on the line, if I've been falsely accused of something or made an honest mistake, even, I want folks who are going to have my back and actually represent me. And the idea that you should ditch your union or your organization in these cases often because you don't agree with their politics is also something I fundamentally reject. I think members can and should try to shape the political direction of the unions that they belong to. And you're not always going to agree because that's the nature of democratic organizations that are mass organizations. Like, it's just hard to get a bunch of people to agree on the same thing. You're not always going to agree with these institutions. But I think we had a comment from a letter carrier earlier online who wanted to ditch the NALC. Again, I understand that these unions are institutions led by humans. They are human institutions. They are not perfect. But they are important tools that we have. And I don't think you throw away the tool just because it's not being used properly, in your opinion, right? That doesn't make sense to me. And I think to write off unions writ large because of one particular experience or even one particular union that you're not happy with. We spend a lot of time on this show often criticizing folks in the labor movement and trying to hold people accountable. We don't always make friends because of that. But that is the nature of democratic institutions where every voice is supposed to be important. And you as a member have both a right and a responsibility to be involved and engaged and, push your perspective forward and hopefully organize with coworkers and other members to, get your agenda out there. Sometimes you lose. That's the nature of it. But, again, I don't think you write it off, but, it is a little bizarre. I believe it was the state superintendent in Oklahoma that was pushing this. And so, but he has been a fierce opponent of public education out there. Haven't followed it super closely, but what I have picked up, it's pretty scary to see folks elevated to state superintendent who are fundamentally opposed to the public schools that they're supposed to be overseeing. But, look at what's happening in D.C.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.